start right on time tonight. We have a quorum. Good evening again. This is the March 16th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. And let's start with 649, 650 Hill Street. Not here. All right.
There are some folks outside. I don't know if you want to recall this one later and move
Okay,
on.
we can recall this and move on. Oh, by the way, Kim is joining us by Zoom tonight, so thank you. Let's move on to 105 Willow Street.
That was the motion.
105 Willow? Not here either.
No, it isn't.
Withdrawn. See,
Okay. How about 22 Windmill Lane?
Rick Wisnowski, the Rayner Group, 860 Montauk Highway for the applicant. I think we resubmitted plans the end of January. Some of our issues are the sanitary system for rotations. I believe right now we're showing it partially on our property, but then it's also on the village property, and we kind of need to modify the easement for Shippey's sanitary easement. So we need to work with, I guess, both you, the village, and Shippey's to see if that's how possible that is. Where their easement is, they're not really showing any future expansion or any of their installed sanitary systems, so I don't really know why their easement was expanded so far to the south. So I think it's possible that we can put our easement, our sanitary system there. But I wanted to get some feedback from the village to see if that was how possible that was.
this is to put all the junk in the soil back into the parking lot to the east of you.
Yes, this would all be. This wouldn't really be in the parking lot. It would be, on the grassed area. Most of it would be in the grassed area on our property, and then there's probably like a 50 square foot area that would be on the village property / within the Shippey's easement.
You didn't bring a site plan with you?
Yeah, I do. I have. Want me to have it face you, or?
You're going to face you, then that way we'll be able to pull it up on the screen. So our sanitary system is located in this area. That hasn't changed. And then the rotation system, we're putting the IA within their right-of-way behind their property, and then the leaching field within this grassed area, mostly on our property, and then there's just this little area right here that's on the village property. This blue line is the sanitary easement for Shippey's. So it'd just be this little area, that we would need to modify their easement for. And then we'd also obviously need an easement for this sanitary leaching that's on the village property. And I'm assuming you have a copy of Shippey's?
I haven't. Yeah, I saw their plan. I saw the filed easement, so that's where I got these meets and bounds.
Didn't Shippey's use all the space that they were granted in that easement? I mean,
I didn't see a approval of constructed works, showing where the actual system was installed. This isn't really the best. It's a little small. This is their approval. So this shows their future expansion over here, and then their leaching right here. This area right here is where we would need to, utilize some of the space.
which is village property.
Yeah, that's village property / part of their easement. So
And what is there right now?
For Shippies?
No,
Or,
you know, what Chippies hasn't used, or the open space that you're hoping to use.
It's all the area that we want to use is just grass. This, I think I overlaid where the, parking is, which is right here. So we're westerly of the, where they put those new parking spaces in. So it's not, you wouldn't have to tear up the asphalt at least to do this.
Just so we understand exactly what you're asking, nothing's happening to your originally proposed sanitary system.
No, the health.
This is just solving the problem.
Yeah, because right now, 22 and rotations have a shared sanitary
Right.
system. And we went to the health department. We were going to try to upsize where we have our system and like combine the systems, but they want two separate
Yeah.
systems.
Well, the Shippey's line is not used that you want.
Yeah, I don't think the area where we're proposing, this little area right here, I don't think it affects anything that they've installed. I would want to see, we'll see if they ever got a green stamp, which I'm assuming they did, showing where everything was installed. This is just the approval to actually do the work.
Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but the negotiation between Shippies and the village for the use of that space was a long negotiation, so that's,
And it did have to get approved by the Board of Trustees
Yeah.
and reviewed by the village attorney. Have you had any meetings with the village attorney yet? or-
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we wanted, I guess, I don't know if it's something with the village first or if we should go to Shippies first because, I guess it's probably all three parties need to be involved.
yeah, but I think that's your first stop, is
Oh, yeah.
I'd start with the village first, right, with the trustees and the village attorney.
And if you haven't already, you could submit a FOIL request if we have a green stamp plan on file at the building department, where we can provide it if we have it on.
Okay, I'll do that.
And I'm happy to set something up with the village attorney.
Okay, yeah, I'll speak with my client
yeah.
and, because we also have an issue of our roof drainage. We don't really have any room for our roof drainage to go, so we were, contemplating putting some structures within the village parking lot for that also. Since, the majority of our open space is being used by our sanitary structures. So I guess we'd probably need a easement, some sort of drainage easement
Right.
for that as well.
Yeah, I understand it's a constrained lot, and I know the village is anxious to try and move something along, so I'm happy to try and facilitate a conversation.
Okay.
But, yeah, that would be the first step, and if you start getting traction there, then I would come back and we can start considering a site plan.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right.
Are
Thank
there
you.
any other changes to discuss with the board other than that, since, I know it's been a while since we were last
No,
here.
I don't think so. The site plan all is basically the same. We had gotten rid of that retaining wall that was over here.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into a
But
site
that,
plan.
no,
because
Sure.
nothing
you
else
gotta
really
solve
changed.
this
Okay.
first, and
Yeah, nothing
and
else
that could have
changed.
a major impact on a site plan, depending on
Right.
how you solve those questions.
Yeah, I can't tell if Lisa is on yet, but I don't know if she had any other thoughts or questions at this point before
Yeah.
we. Okay.
I am here.
Thanks for joining us, Lisa. We were discussing the application at
problem.
22 Windmill, which would need some easements on village property to accommodate some of the septic and the leaching and drainage. So just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions while we had their engineering staff here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that was the key one, was the one that you just asked, which is that, are there any other major changes that we should be aware of from the previously submitted and reviewed plans? Because I know that the septic has been what's really delayed any kind of movement forward here. So it's my assumption that that's the primary issue. And, as already discussed, it can't be resolved with the planning board alone. I think in principle, the planning board in the past has been found it acceptable if the village is willing to allow a an easement for dealing with drainage and septic, but that would be on the Board of Trustees to determine.
The test hole, and this one has been here for a while, so this is from my memory, but as I recall, the test hole
Yes.
was way far north that you guys used.
We got test holes on our property that showed groundwater at elevation 6.9, and then there's a monitoring well with the USGS that was on like the old Rite Aid property, which showed groundwater at like 9.5. So they wanted us to use that. The Shippies lot got approved with the health department showing groundwater at, I think it was 6.75.
Okay.
So that's why we had some modifications with our grading and removing the retaining wall.
Okay.
What time of year were these wells done?
Ours was done in May. Theirs was done in April.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No other questions here? No. Okay, thank you.
Nice to have you back.
So does the board want to adjourn this to the next meeting? Do you think you might need more time than that? think
I'll
our
speak
next-
with, I'll look to see if I'll submit the FOIA request for the green stamp, and then I'll reach out to you about setting up a meeting with
Okay.
our client, the village attorney, to discuss the easement. And
Okay.
then I guess we can submit a,
Yeah, so that sounds like a
I don't
lot
think
to
it would
do
be
in
the
2
next-
weeks, so why
yeah.
don't we adjourn this to the meeting after that? That gives you a month. Does that sound okay?
yeah, that seems
Okay.
fair.
Motion to adjourn 22 Windmill Lane to the, what's the date on that one, Alex?
April 6th and April 20th.
20.
April 20th meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. I noticed we had some people come in late, 649 Hill Street. Okay, why don't we go back to that one?
Carl Benacasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the owner of 649 Hill Street. Is here today. Also, the owners of 659 Hill Street are also in attendance. When we spoke at our last meeting, the board requested simply that we show the, as these parcels are actually split zones, show the zoning lines separating the R40 district from the R20 district. That was done, and that survey has been provided to the board for your consideration. It's on tonight for a public hearing, just to go over what's happening. 649 Hill Street is a conforming lot, well in excess of the 40,000 square feet that's required by code. Neighboring is 659 Hill Street. The two neighbors have discussed a lot line modification whereby 3,835 square feet would be carved off from 649 and were merged with 659, thereby decreasing the nonconformity of 659 Hill Street without affecting the conformity of 649 Hill Street. There's not much more to say than that, frankly.
And we have the affidavits of mailing and posting for the public hearing.
Perfect, okay. Next steps for a,
So unless the board has any questions, I'd suggest you open it up for a public hearing.
Yeah.
Any comments, either in person or on
Okay.
Zoom. And if not, the board can close the public hearing, and I understand Kim has prepared
Kim was
yeah,
prepared, yeah, Kim
something
was
for your
prepared.
discussion.
any comments before we open for a public hearing? Motion to open a public hearing for 649, 650 Hill
So
Street.
moved.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone here care to comment on this? Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
It's all in favor.
It's a quick one.
Okay.
Lot line,
Everyone,
lot line move,
yeah.
south of Hill Street.
Yeah, we've talked about this one. Anyone have any other questions, issues? Everyone's seen the resolution, read it, ready to move forward?
Yep.
So I'd like to motion.
Kim, do you want to say anything about the resolution?
Kim, you still there?
No, I don't have any new comments.
Okay, so everyone's reviewed the resolution, so a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll move it again.
All in favor?
Second?
Aye.
Second.
Yep, okay, all in favor.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
What happened to that?
I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
105,
Good move.
thank you. 105 Willow Street? No? Okay, we'll move on. Let's go to 38, 40, 42 Job's Lane then.
Okay. This is,
Bailey Larkin with Bennett and Reed, offices at 212 Windmill Lane in Southampton. And the project architect, CMX, Sammy, is here as well. I think when we were last here, we were waiting on engineering comments. And we had submitted after the last meeting in February a revised set of plans. The plans simply just include a cross-section detail because I think there were questions about the brick walkway. But there were no other changes that were made to the plans that were submitted. I don't think we've received comments from Lisa at all.
So I can speak to that a little bit. I do have now comments from the engineer, which I'll format and get to you after this meeting. I should be able to get them to you tomorrow. There are some basic just details that are requirements of site plan submissions that were just missing from the site plan that need to be included, and some functional comments related to the ADA accessibility, just signage that's required. The accessible loading stall is shown to be 5 feet. However, the stall would require to have 8 feet, so that might impact the parking design there. We'll need to see the storm drain design detailed calculations that demonstrate sizing of drainage structures to store a 2-inch rainfall, which is the Southampton standard. There are some other very detailed, that I won't go into as much detail on because it's better probably to read them and evaluate. But I would say that they are, things like, location of dry wells need to be 10 feet from the foundation wall of the building and 10 feet spacing between them as well as required. So for the most part, that was the takeaway. I do have these, and I apologize for not getting them to you before the meeting, but at that point that they were ready and I was ready to send them. It's not going to have a lot of time for review regardless. But we do have them all laid out here, so I can share them after this meeting.
Okay, any questions, board members?
no, it's moving ahead.
It is moving ahead.
Finally.
We have not yet scheduled a public hearing for this, so we were hoping that after this evening, we could schedule that to move the application
We're
forward.
going to do that at our next meeting, April 6th.
Probably would have to be the following meeting just
To give
Yeah.
give
of notice
enough time,
provisions,
which
yeah.
Yeah.
which is
I
probably.
think it's like a
April
21.
6th is
Yeah.
Easter Monday, so I'm not sure we're gonna have a meeting then. So if you're okay with the one after that?
April 20th, yep.
Yeah,
April 20th?
Yep. I think we will need to anyway for noticing.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we schedule a public hearing for the
Perfect.
20th for this?
Great. Do you want to pass a resolution to that
Yeah.
effect?
Motion to schedule public hearing.
Second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right.
Middle of April. People
So
will
we'll send you
show
the
up.
legal notice.
People will
and-
show up for another one of Simi's passageways. Okay? People have been watching this passageways for 13 years.
Bailey, were you the one that called about that letter
I did.
Yeah, good catch.
I did.
What,
A fraudulent letter in Mark's name was sent out asking for additional funds for an application. So
Yeah, a good time to remind anyone listening, the village does not accept wire transfers as payment.
Yeah, just so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Municipalities up and down Long Island are someone is sending letters, calling public records,
yeah.
sending official, very official, I saw the letter. It
Very
was
specific.
Very official letter
Yeah.
on, in this case, Village of Southampton letterhead from me apparently, not signed, but it just said Mark London, saying you owe X dollars, send us a check. And this is happening everywhere, so be aware, everyone. So,
While we're on this, Lisa, do you remember if the board did a declared lead agency for SECRA? If we should do that also while we're scheduling the public hearing, do you remember?
I thought we did.
We
that on
did.
this.
I think you did on February 2nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was going to be coordinated review.
And we might have even done that already. I'll check my
Yeah.
my records.
I mean,
well, if we did, the other agencies had to get notice and do that loop. Should be a record.
just so we don't trip up for that,
Mhm.
should we redeclare? Just
Well,
if we didn't do it?
Yeah,
I thought we
the
did.
record should show that the council has contacted the other agencies.
Oh, yeah, maybe our recording secretary can look that up while I check.
Hey, Alex, I see that you sent out a memorandum to the other agencies on February 3rd.
Okay, great.
So
I'm already ahead of it.
Perfect. All
Excellent.
right.
See, I
Thank you.
thought it went.
Okay, I'll make sure that we
All right, so
get a
see you in
copy
a
of it.
month. Okay,
Thank you.
Perfect.
all right, good.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last call for 105 Willow Street. All right.
Lisa, I think you might have seen I uploaded to the Dropbox their amended EAF. I know that was one of the things that we were waiting for. I don't know if this one may be also one we could consider scheduling a public hearing. That would probably be the next step here. Do you want to also do that for 420?
For 420. For the date 420.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Alex. A motion to schedule a public hearing for Bridgehampton Realty Group, 105 Willow Street, for April 20th.
Second
Who's
motion.
second? All in favor? Aye. And
This is the
opposed?
2 lots in the back,
This is it's
3 lots.
3 lots, existing house, small lot, plus sort of two, one
Two
in
in
front
the
of the
back.
other, and we've asked them to create an easement
Yep,
right off Willow Street,
it's
and
gotta
then it's
go-
got 2
It's
driveways.
gotta go around that other house.
Yeah, exactly, it goes up the
Yeah.
side, so,
And for the record, I'll just note that the application, CGZ Development LLC withdrew by a letter today. So
okay.
they're no longer pursuing that application.
Okay.
And Alex, on 105 Willow, I just saw that it was uploaded to the Dropbox, the SEF. It's not complete. So I can make a letter to that effect. They ran the mapper,
They did.
but they didn't fill in the form.
Yeah, I'll send them a note as well, because they also have to sign it.
Up the street.
Yeah, there's no information on the form, so it's not even clear what property the mapper was.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can tell from the aerial image at the bottom, but it should be tied to the project.
It's messing up their recording. Let's talk for a second about whether we're gonna have a meeting on Easter Monday. Who cannot make Easter
Just
Monday?
I can.
One,
Let me see, what date is that? That's the 6th?
it's the
Let me
6th.
see. Yeah, I cannot.
I'm on campus. I'm stuck here till she gets better.
April 6th now.
My first trip out of Southampton will be for part of the day on the 1st, and otherwise it's on the
So you can't
24th
do
of
it on the
April.
6th either.
So you could make it, or you
Yes,
couldn't?
cancel.
But
April 20.
Yeah, let's cancel
the 20.
the, Alex, I'm gonna cancel the Easter Monday meeting,
Okay.
okay? So our next planning board meeting will be April 20th.
April 20th, good.
February 2nd minutes. We ready to approve those? Everybody reviewed comments? Motion to approve minutes from our February 2nd meeting? Second?
Seconded.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okey-doke. Any other business tonight?
So are you here for a particular application? Are you here for a particular application?
No, just here.
Okay.
Good, if there's no other business, motion to close the meeting?
Village plan.
Second,
Second motion.
all in favor? Aye.